Season 3 is very much about the characters trying to figure out right and wrong. You know, walking through that kind of murky terrain. Norman definitely is getting to a point where he is more torn between two parts of him. In a lot of ways, it's about kind of the battle for his soul, for who he is. Norma is going through a lot of enlightenment. In a weird way, Norma has become so much stronger since we first met her, and she's starting to develop the ability to look at the truth a little bit, which she has never really been strong enough to do before. So that's a really interesting development for her character. What we chose to do with the story from the beginning was actually really examine the possibility that there were options, along the way, and that's kind of why it becomes a tragedy, ultimately, because there are things that could have been done differently if people had been more enlightened, had been more, psychologically healthy and stronger. There's a lot of different ways things could have played out, but because they are the people that they are, fate has to be in control and it has to push in a certain direction. But watching that unfold in a really nuanced way was really fascinating. Norman and Emma, Emma in general is really pulled much more intimately into the Bates family this year. I think a lot of last season was about them having all these secrets and her always being outside of it, and this is very much the answer to that. You know, she really made a statement that she wanted to be part of the family, and sort of, because she always gave her whole heart to them, and I think she didn't feel like it was reciprocated, so she definitely is drawn in to the family very deeply this year. Her and Norman will always be close. What the nature of their relationship is, what the packaging of it is called, is, that changes, but their relationship is always pretty pure and consistent. Yeah. That also is very much thematically tied into good and evil and trying to navigate the high road between them. And I think they both have a growing awareness of their need for each other, and that it may not perhaps be always 100% mentally healthy, but also just that great, that's in conflict with that great passion that they have for each other, which is, in a certain respect, about family, and about not wanting to be alone, and about, feeling safe with someone in a world that's scary. And I think that's one of the things that we really love about the show, is that it is so much about the longing for family that everyone has, I mean, Dylan, just breaks my heart, he's just I really honestly think all Dylan wants in the world is a family, just like a simple life with a family, and it's,
How does that work out for him?
We take that for granted. It's actually going in a very interesting direction. Well, Caleb has always just been a really fascinating character to us because we don't know anything about him, and we only know about him through Norma. In the world of Psycho, hearing about a character through someone else is sort of traditional, because in the movie, all we hear about Norma is through Norman. So we're like, oh, she was this horrible person, she's a shrew, and then you get, the show gets the great opportunity to kind of show her as a real human being. And so Caleb is sort of a similar opportunity in that all we know about him we know through Norma, who we certainly believe, but there's different versions of the truth. There's different versions of relationships and what actually happened in them and how both people felt. So it's this year we're really excited about these storylines, but it's just been such a gift to be able to write this story and this relationship of this man who, again, has no family, and found out last year that he had a son, and wants to know his son, and the whole season you really don't know about who he is. Is he good? Is he bad? Is he violent? Is he horrible? And then also that, deeply, ultimately, him and Norma just have this very loaded relationship, that's very volatile and has a lot of, obviously is going to affect a lot of things. Like, I can't really tell you what I want to. Bradley is indeed coming back, and it's the very interesting dilemma of a person who can't be visible in their own past, because she is wanted. She's not supposed to be there, and she's gotten herself into sort of a awful, sad situation that she's kind of just learned to live with, and she just wants to come back to see her home in a way, but she can't interact with it, so it's very isolating, and then of course because Norman was like this one person who she always connected with, and again, that's like someone projecting like what they think he is, but Norman always saw her as very innocent, and I think that was very meaningful to her.